It was known as the Minotaur. The origin of the Minotaur was kept secret because of the shame it brought upon the Minoan royal family.
Minos had asked Poseidon to send him as a sign a bull from the sea, and vowed that he would then sacrifice this bull to Poseidon in thanksgiving for Poseidon's support. Poseidon did send the bull, a glorious bull. Minos, however, chose not to sacrifice it, but instead sent it among the rest of his herd and sacrificed to Poseidon another lesser bull. Poseidon was therefore rightly angry that Minos had reneged on his vow, his bargain that he had struck with Poseidon, and in retaliation first made the bull savage so that it could no longer be kept penned up, and also caused Minos' wife, Pasiphae, to fall madly in love with the bull and desire to make love with the bull.
Pasiphae called upon Daedalus, the legendary craftsman hero of Greek myth, to help her construct a hollow wooden cow in which she could mate with Poseidon's bull. She was successful and later gave birth to a hideous creature that had the head of a bull and the body of a man. Minos realized that this abomination had come to him as punishment for disobeying a god. He sent the creature away and imprisoned it.
It was kept in a sort of prison devised again by Daedalus, the labyrinth, which of course, it has now become a common noun in English, meaning any sort of maze-like structure from which it's impossible to emerge, in which you get lost and wander forever. And it was in this labyrinth, then, that the Minotaur was put.
When Daedalus had finished the labyrinth, he was almost unable to find the way out of his own prison. His only tool for remembering the way out was a ball of string, which he tied to the entrance.
After he had designed the labyrinth, he became an object of some suspicion for Minos, because he really knew too many of his secrets. He knew the secret of the labyrinth. He was involved with the whole episode with Pasiphae, and Daedalus was aware of this, that Minos was starting to think that he knew perhaps too much. So Daedalus decided to escape.
But Crete was an island, and all sea routes were controlled by its massive navy.
But Daedalus, being a great craftsman, according to the story, invented a way to escape by flying. He crafted for himself and for his son Icarus wings made of feathers attached to a framework with wax.
The wings worked, and Daedalus was able to escape the island, but it came at a terrible cost. In his excitement of being able to fly, Icarus flew too close to the sun, and his wings melted. He plunged into the sea and was killed.
So, Theseus, recognized by Aegeus, sees that in his father's kingdom, what will be his own city in the future, that this terrible thing is going on. And he volunteers to be one of the 7 young men who is sent to Minos in the next round of tributes. Aegeus, of course, is not keen on this, but Theseus persuades him. The normal procedure was, since these young men and women were being sent to their death, that they sailed to Crete in a ship with black sails to indicate the mourning of the Athenians who were sending them to their death.
Theseus was given instructions by his father to fly white sails on the return journey if he was returning safely from Crete. The sails were to remain black if he did not survive. Theseus had set sail for Crete, and every day Aegeus would stand on a cliff overlooking the sea and gaze upon the horizon to see if his son would return to him.
Aegeus knew that Theseus's plan was not simply to be fed to the Minotaur, but somehow to end this, to put an end to this tribute, and to, if at all possible, defeat or kill the Minotaur. When the Athenians, with the tribute, arrived on Crete, Theseus presented himself and the other young Athenian men and women to Minos in his court. And in the court was Minos' daughter, Ariadne.
Ariadne fell in love with Theseus at first sight. Driven by passion, she resolved to help Theseus survive the labyrinth and kill the Minotaur.
First, she gave him his sword. That is, not directly, but she helped him hide it so that he would be able to use it when he was in the labyrinth. She helped him hide it in sort of the entry to the labyrinth. And the other thing she did was to give him a ball of string, of twine.
Using the same method as Daedalus, Theseus would be able to escape from the labyrinth once he had defeated the Minotaur.
So, when Theseus entered the labyrinth, he told the other young men and women to stay at the entrance. He retrieved the sword that Ariadne had hidden for him, took the ball of twine that she had also hidden, and made his way through the labyrinth, eventually finding the Minotaur.
He followed the twine back out of the labyrinth, bringing with him the head of the Minotaur. He asked one of his servants to deliver it as a gift to Minos.
And with Ariadne, who had been so desperately in love with him, and the other Athenians, makes his way to the ship and then sets sail back for Athens. Along the way, though, they put in at one of the Greek islands, the island of Naxos in the Aegean Sea. And there, Theseus abandons Ariadne.
For what reason could Theseus have abandoned the woman who had helped him achieve his greatest victory? A woman who loved him with all of her heart.
This was a popular subject for tragedy, for tragic poetry. This figure of Ariadne abandoned by Theseus on the island.
In some versions of the myth, the marooning is accidental. Many versions say that the god Dionysus saw her beauty and married her on the island of Naxos. But in other accounts, Theseus no longer needed her and abandoned her as a convenience.